Hello, this is Hannam-dong, a wealthy area in Seoul. The building you see in front is the Blue Square Musical Theater. With a seating capacity of approximately 1,700, it is the largest in Korea. This is where the original teams of globally famous works, such as Notre Dame de Paris, Chicago, and Wicked, performed in Korea. The Korean musical industry is growing rapidly, although it is not at the level of the West End in the UK or Broadway in the US. This is because the musical industry is the intersection of Korea's strengths in movies, dramas, and the K-pop industry. Although there are not many, competitive Korean musical works are being produced based on talented people, such as good directors and actors. Maybe Happy Ending, which won the prestigious American Tony Award in 2025, was also a work that received great acclaim when it was first performed in Korea in 2016. In Korea, it was a performance held in small theaters with less than 500 seats, and honestly, I didn't know that it would receive good reviews and win a Tony Award on Broadway. This means that the Korean musical industry is growing. The time I visited here was around 4:30 p.m. on a Saturday. It was a very hot day. You can see the Hangangjin subway station in front. The meaning of Hangangjin is a military unit stationed on the Han River. In the Middle Ages, there was a military unit here. It was a defensive line to block enemies coming up the Han River by boat from the north. In fact, when Japan invaded Korea in 1592, when this defensive line collapsed, the Japanese army entered right up to the palace, so it was a very important place. It was a place that served as the defensive line of the old capital. The reason why this area is called Hannam-dong can be seen on the map. There is the Hangang to the south and Namsan to the north. It was named Hannam-dong because it is located between the Hangang and Namsan. This place is very close to Itaewon. It only takes 15 minutes to walk in this direction. So people who visit here enjoy themselves here during the day and enjoy themselves in Itaewon at night. This place is famous for daytime culture, and Itaewon is famous for nightlife. In the past, this place was not a place that many people visited. It was a wealthy area, but the buildings were old and the neighborhood was outdated. After the completion of the high-end apartment complex Nine One Hannam in 2019, the commercial district of this neighborhood grew rapidly. It became famous as high-end restaurants, cafes, and boutique shops targeting the wealthy with high incomes opened. Since ordinary people are interested in the lives of the wealthy, people flock to this place. It is the complete opposite compared to Seongsu, a hot place popular among young people in Seoul. If Seongsu is sensitive to trends and has pop-up stores that change every time, this place is quieter and more upscale. Since the old days, this place has been a neighborhood where the wealthiest people in Korea live. Chairmen of Korea's major corporations, including Samsung, SK, Hyundai, and LG, are very wealthy and live here. BTS's Jimin and RM also live nearby. In particular, Samsung Group purchased a significant amount of real estate here. The Leeum Museum of Art, which is directly operated by Samsung, is located here, and the headquarters of Jeil Worldwide, an advertising agency owned by Samsung, is also located here. Based on the direction I am walking, there is an apartment complex on the left and a single-family home complex on the right. The apartment on the left is also worth at least $1 million, but the single-family home on the right is 3 times more expensive. The most expensive single-family home in Korea is located in this neighborhood. It is hard to imagine how many wealthy people own in this neighborhood. I go down the alley on the left. From here, it is called Cafe Street. It is a place with pretty cafes and unique restaurants.
所以那你到底是4级啊？是我放在那里，我放上面。吃一吃哦。
저거 뭐지?
I left the cafe street and came back to the main road of Hannam-dong.
내 돈 주고 절대 안 돼.
This is the Hyundai Card Music Library building. It is a building built by a credit card company operated by Hyundai Motors. It is a place where you can enjoy vinyl records collected from all over the world. It is a popular attraction in this neighborhood. You can enjoy a great view of Seoul from here. If you look at the front, you can see a complex of identical concrete buildings. It looks ordinary from the outside, but it is a high-end apartment. That's where BTS's Jimin and RM live. I leave the building I entered earlier and cross the street to the opposite side. The building you see in front is the Leeum Museum of Art. It is a private art museum operated directly by Samsung. Chairman Lee Byung-chul, who founded Samsung, a representative Korean company, was very interested in ancient art, so he built a gallery by collecting the things he had collected. It is the largest private art museum in Korea, and despite being private, many national treasures of Korean art are displayed here. There are ancient Korean artifacts that Koreans would only see in art class textbooks inside. For example, there is a crown worn by a Korean king 1,600 years ago here. It is a very important artifact, but in the past it was lent to the National Museum of Korea, and an incident occurred where the crown broke. An employee of the National Museum tried to cover up the accident, but was caught by Samsung. Samsung, disappointed by the rude attitude of the employee of the National Museum, has not exhibited the crown to the general public since then, and visitors can no longer see it, and no other artwork is allowed to be lent. As you continue up the hill, you will arrive at a single-family home complex. This is where the really rich live. I don't know which rich people live in these houses. The house on the right looks like it's under construction. You can see a lot of rich houses in Korean dramas. They have separate garages, so you can't see the cars parked on the street. So the streets are quite clean. As I explained earlier, this neighborhood has a mountain to the north and a river to the south. In Korea, people prefer to build houses in places like this. This is due to the climate of Korea. In the summer, the wind blows from the south, and it cools down as it passes the river. It's effective for the heat. In the winter, the mountain blocks the cold wind from the north. That's why all Korean palaces are built in places where there is a mountain behind the building and a river in front. Land that meets these conditions is expensive in Korea. If you look to the right, you will see the Portuguese flag. This is also where embassies are concentrated. As it is the best place to live in Korea, major Korean politicians are also concentrated here. The official residences of people in high-ranking positions in the country, such as the President, Chief Justice, Prime Minister, Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court, Director of the National Intelligence Service, and Minister of Foreign Affairs, are located in this neighborhood. Diplomats from other countries that need to conduct diplomatic relations with Korea have set up embassies close to major Korean politicians. I walked down the hill and back to the main road in Hannam-dong. If you look to the left, you will see a tall building with a glass exterior. That is the headquarters of Jeil Planning, Korea's #1 advertising agency. It is a subsidiary of Samsung Electronics, and Samsung's video advertisements are produced there. Major global companies in Korea operate their own advertising agencies separately. The reason that company was able to become Korea's #1 advertising agency is probably because Samsung is Korea's #1 company. I'm going up the hill. If I walk 5 more minutes from here, I'll be at Itaewon Main Street. This is the end of my Hannam-dong walking tour. Thank you for watching the video.